megalithic architecture and art in the Levant and beyond, a phenomenological approach. Megalithic phenomena in view of the phenomenological branch of post-processual archaeology. The third wave of post-processual archaeology, as pointed out by Trigger, is intuitive, constructive, or human archaeology. As a matter of fact, the phenomenological branch is supposed to be the third wave of post-processual archaeology. It is based upon the German philosophical phenomenology of the 19th and 20th century that started by Heidegger and Husserl. A phenomenological analysis creates new understanding of place and landscape through new description that evolves from our physical experience, as pointed out by Tilly. The phenomenological approach explores the way human beings experience and understand the world. People do not manipulate landscape but integrate with it. And of course, monument has an agency on people. As Chris Daly put it, we enter the monument and the monument enters us. Now I'm going to talk about a range of at least 5,000 kilometers of megalithic phenomena that stretch between Russia and Western Europe. Of course, megalithic phenomena are much wider, but I will concentrate on this range and on the chronological space between the 5th and the 3rd millennium, with a zenith in the 3rd millennium BC. Now, I will show that the same phenomenological principles were employed in the construction of monuments and megalithic art throughout this huge space. Now, I will start in the southern Levant, and it seems that megalithic phenomena in the southern Levant were closely related with the rise of urbanization by the late 4th millennium. And you can see in the map on the left that most megalithic phenomena are located around the Jordan Valley Rift, with a large concentration of megalithic phenomena, mainly dolmens, but also cromlechs, and of course Rogem-Hiri, that I will speak of it soon, in the area that stretches between the Golan region in Israel to Damascus. Between the Sea of Galilee and Damascus, you can see here a part of the many thousands of dolmens located in this region. Now, I will talk about several aspects of phenomenology that are common in in the regions I will speak about. First, the monument can be seen as a transmitter that sends message of power and confidence in the new order to local and foreign societies, as well as to natural landscape. In the southern Levant, we can discuss the new order. It means the early urbanization. In Europe, we can speak, of course, on the Neolithic, of the new Neolithic package that was stretched, that spread in this period. Now, the location of monuments in landscape is not homogeneous, but there is a preference to slopes, observed terrain, ridges, and water sources. And this can be seen throughout the vast area I'm talking about. We can see here the Golan. This megalithic tomb is located on a slope in a view of a river. The same can be said along the Jordan Valley Rift inside like Dami Ademe, and all along this rift. And of course, we can see it elsewhere. The stones of Stennis and the ring of Bodagar in mainland Orkney. We can see Craeg Samon and Pentre Ifan in Wales. The temples of Malta. We can see here Cork Dolmen in Ireland, located on a slope and viewing in a view towards the water source, running toward a water source. This aspect is common throughout the space and discussed. Now, in Rujmel-Hiri, a unique megalithic monument that has no equivalence in the Levant, we can speak about several aspects of phenomenology, like cosmological engineering, as pointed out by Julian Thomas, holy pilgrimage, written about by Chris Kerr, and of course the encapsulation of landscape, as discussed by Richard Bradley. Now, the site was excavated by Yoni Mizrahi, and speaking about cosmological engineering, as pointed out by Julian Thomas, we can see the use of natural materials to create unnatural formation, the declaration of new relationship with landscape. And what we can see here is that the builders of Rogem-Hiri and other monuments as well were using unhewn stones. They used natural material to create unnatural, complete round monument. About holy pilgrimage, we can see that Rogem-Hiri is located very close to an earlier site called el-Arba'in. While Rogem-Hiri can be dated to the early bronze, el-Arba'in is a bit earlier and can be dated to the late Chalcolithic period. We can see the site here in this picture, and we can reconstruct a ceremony in which people that come to conduct cultic ceremonies in Rogem-Hiri move through and walk by the site of el-Arba'in, and this phenomenon is very similar to a site in Europe where you have a Neolithic monument that was built close to earlier Mesolithic site. And you have many curses and many earlier monuments through which cultic activities can move in maybe in memory, in commemorating their ancestors on their way to the new megalithic monument. Other aspects that can be seen in our area in the southern Levant are astronomic aspects that were largely discussed by Aveni and Mizrahi, but I will mainly relate to the relation of the monument to natural monument topographic features. As a matter of fact, Rogem-Hiri is located in what Mizrahi calls a natural amphitheater. It is not unique in its own, but it encapsulates its surrounding. From Rogem-Hiri, several topographical monuments can be seen. First, Tel Fares, that is located exactly in front of the northeastern entrance to the monument. Also, the whole monument, Rogem-Hiri, was built directly south to Mount Hermon, located exactly north to the monument. And in a good day, the view of Mount Tabor is seen on the west. The relation between monuments and between man-made monument and natural monument is seen, of course, elsewhere in the space I discussed in the beginning. And several very good examples are the beehive tombs of Oman that are located exactly in front of Jebel al-Misht. And another very good example is the Cueva de Menga in Antequera, Spain, located exactly in front of Pena de los Tamuados, the sleeping giant, the huge sleeping giant. And of course, everybody knows that when we go out from the tomb, the view of Pena de los Tamuados is very clear. And of course, we can see that the whole composition of this passage grave was pre-planned in order to have the view of Pena de los Tamuados. Large monuments are located in a non-unique landscape in order to become the unique feature. And we can see it here in this panoramical view of Rogem Hiri, where we can see the surrounding of Rogem Hiri, and we can see here, of course, Tel el-Fares itself. Another important thing is the need to create a man-made monument that will be the main feature in the landscape. And this thing can be seen in el-Banat, the white monument of el-Banat in northern Syria, that is found on the flat terrain where human beings created a man-made mound. And it has the exact shape of Silbury Hill in Wiltshire, England. Now, it's interesting that they both date to the same period, and the white monument is more or less exactly half of the dimensions of Silbury Hill. While Silbury Hill is 200 meters in diameter, the white monument is 100 meter diameter. And the height of Silbury Hill is 14 meters, while the height of the White Monument is 20 meters. But they both share the same principles. They were both built in stages. The purpose for their construction is still vague, mainly a Silbury Hill. In the White Monument of el-Banat, several burials were found in the outer part of the monument, but it is not sure whether the whole monument was built for burial. Most probably not. And for Silbury Hill, of course, we all know that there is no clue why this monument was built. We only know that it is part of a complex of monuments located close to the Avebury complex with West Kenneth Long Barrow and others. Now, another aspect of phenomenology is related to vocal effects that were studied thoroughly by Watson and Keating in the case of Avebury and Stonehenge, and it seems that this monument has a very interesting vocal aspect. Now, speaking about Avebury, the enclosing ramp keeps voices within the enclosure. Stone circles receive echoes. The monument as a whole is arranged like a theater. Large stones seem to act like amplifiers. In Stonehenge, the stones receive and amplify high-frequency voice sounds, like human voice, and seal them within the compound, while they don't receive low-frequency sounds like drums being heard outside the enclosure. If we take this idea to Rogem Hiri, we can suggest that the concentric structure of Rogem Hiri could enable a similar manipulation, thus restricting the number of people entering towards the center and the ability to hear human speech. But at the same time, lower frequency sounds could be heard elsewhere outside the monument. Other aspects are physical manipulation that need to be conducted through in the entry to the monument and inside the monument. This bodily manipulation were discussed thoroughly by Chris Steele in 2004 in the materiality of stone. And here we see the entrance to Rogem Hiri. Of course, people have to go inside and crawl to get inside the monument, inside the burial chamber. And you can see here in Hagarim in Malta, the need to create bodily manipulation to enter large spaces, narrower spaces. We have the duality of stones, the cold and warm, smooth and rough, hewn and unhewn, and people that go inside have to employ the senses in order to understand and get the experience of the monument. And the bodily manipulation here is very, very interesting and important. The same aspect of bodily manipulation are found in the Band of Boehm, and megalithic art in the Knot and in Dot and in Newgrange can be only seen through bodily manipulation. You have to crawl inside, you have to look up or down or to the side in order to see the megalithic art on the stone. Another very interesting aspect is what we call megalithic art and the entoptic motifs that are carved on the stone that stretch from Russia in the east and even, of course, more eastern, but I will concentrate on the space I was discussing in the beginning. And we can see here the same type of megalithic art, the same motifs, zigzag, chevron, concentric circles, lozenges. Now, they are found from Russia to Orkney Island. And we have here only several examples from Tagrat and Hagarim from Malta. We have it in Gavrini, France, and we have it, of course, elsewhere. We can see here Newgrange, the Band of Boehm, the concentric circles, and the lozenges. Now, they are not only found on stone, they can be found on objects as well, and also on pottery. And in the southern Levant, they are found on cylinder cell impressions from the 3rd millennium BC. The same type of motifs can be found in grooved ware, found in Skara Bray and in the nest of Brodgar and elsewhere, the grooved ware that are so common to the late Neolithic period. Now, in order to understand these entoptic motifs, an explanation was suggested by Lewis Williamson Pierce, relating to outer state of consciousness. They state that the search for the center of the world through the extraction of stone is related to this phenomena. The same conventions were used to describe all realms of the living and the dead. Each motif has a meaning, like the spiral is the center of the world. Neolithic tombs were replicas of the universe circle. The passages were the crossroads between its dimensions. Tombs with hallucination motifs carried ideology that justified elite control over manpower, resources, and work. Inside motifs were encrypted texts controlled by elite and were taught to the chosen ones who communicated with other dimensions. Motifs were meant to guide the deceased in their journey, and it can be compared to the Book of Death in early Egypt. Now, another explanation was suggested by Chris Steele And he's tried to explain this phenomenon according to the kinesthetic approach. He said that megalithic art cannot evolve from altered state of consciousness being reduced to something evolved from drugs and hallucinations. Landscape writes itself in the human body through a phenomenological walk experience by each organ. Every stone has an identity. It travels from its source to the monument, and there it reflects human body dressed with meaning and a new identity represented by the insight motif. And good examples can be seen in Newgrange, Bend of Boyne, where we have 11 sources for the stones found in Newgrange. Each comes from another area. All came together and were incorporated inside this monument. The same can be said for the blue stones from Stonehenge that traveled all the way from Presley Mountain in Wales, 250 kilometers, and they came to Stonehenge and they were hewn and they were placed to create the monument. The motifs represent a visual transmission of a bodily experience relating to the monument and the landscape. Tectonic, the relation between the inner and the outer space of the temple. Chris Tilly tends to see the tombs more as temples than as mere burial places. Between the temple and the immediate surroundings, and between temples and their related landscape to other landscapes. Now, to conclude, phenomenological aspect can be related to worldwide megalithic phenomena. Megalithic monuments at the Levant show phenomenological similarity to monuments located thousands of kilometers east and west of the region. Megalithic art and the use of entoptic motifs seem to be shared in a vast space between the 5th and the 3rd millennium BC, with a zenith in the 3rd millennium BC. The similar development of the above-mentioned traits can be explained by similar human cognitive reaction to cultural change that dictate new relationship with landscape. The still unanswered question that we should at least put on the table is, why were these phenomena concentrated between the 5th and the 3rd millennium and reached the zenith in the 3rd millennium BC? It means that when we look at the first half of the 3rd millennium BC, we see that many megalithic phenomena reached their zenith, like the pyramid in Egypt, the Malta temples, and other phenomena as well. Silbury Hill, Stonehenge, and other. And a very intriguing question is, why do they all come to a zenith in this period exactly, in the first half of the 3rd millennium BC, and afterward we see a demise of the megalithic phenomena, and about 2500 BC, urbanization ceased in the southern Levant, and the megalithic phenomena, the zenith of the megalithic phenomena start to demise as well. And this question is still unanswered. Thank you very much.